if we look at the foundation structure, really with Kyield, I think we're creating a new category. We won't know until looking back on it how it's defined by the marketplace or by others, but certainly BI, business intelligence, is an appropriate label because there's functionality that clearly falls within that realm, especially in terms of extending to the entire information workplace. And there's also elements of MDM, Master Data Management, with our CKO module, which is a Chief Knowledge Officer module. That really sets up the data management for the entire organization, has the ability to set business rules, policies and security settings, and also manages the relationships within the data that's embedded in the data or in a wrapper file, the rich intelligence between entities. That's necessary to be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve, which is adaptable computing in terms of data in the organization. It is disruptive in some respects because we're actually, it's a new business model. You're not, as a customer, you're not required to hire a very expensive team to come in and change, hard-coded software every time that you need to change directions in your organization, expand, contract, tailor your information flow and your data flow to your organization. So adaptive computing was absolutely critical. It's part of what we've been working on in our R&D for almost 2 decades now. And it was critical in my key patent that was awarded last August to have that functionality covered in our holistic systems approach. The flip side to that is managing the entity to the individual. Aligning the interests between the individual worker and the organization has been a management consultant's challenge and a leadership challenge. The situations where, for example, you have a labor union and management, when they work together well, they can oftentimes achieve great things. Similarly, when you're in a knowledge-intensive industry, the ability to keep top people will often determine the success or failure of the organization. So it's very much in the interest of an organization to be able to align interests with the individual. In order to do that, you need to protect original work, provide security measures, provide some sort of fair adaptive ratios, in our case, a menu of ratios that we use to appraise the work in the information workplace, and then to be able to perform analytics on the organization that you want to achieve, you had to have that intelligence embedded in the organization and across the organization. So for innovation and for crisis management, the ROI that our system provides on the financial side is the ability to prevent what we see as a steady stream of preventable crises, in mislabeling of products, in poor decision making, in actual workflow and logistics, in the supply chain. We, on a continual basis, every month, sometimes every week, we find another case where in large dispersed organizations, our Kyield system very likely would have prevented the situation entirely, and in some cases mitigated terrible disasters. Katrina would be a good example, where we certainly couldn't have prevented the hurricane, but we found in studying the situation we absolutely would have been able to mitigate a lot of the financial and human loss. So it's very similar in the corporate environment that we have the ability to do now by extending throughout the organization with appropriate privacy and audit capabilities. So that's where the ROI is on the crisis prevention side. On the innovation side, within the same structure, you need the intelligence there for either application. and financial return. The ability to innovate and expedite discovery really requires a much more intelligent information workplace that not only aligns interests and removes these disincentives that are common in corporations and larger organizations, cut down on bureaucracy, but also enable the individual to self-manage within the corporate parameters or organizational parameters to optimize their own, workforce, workflow, and their team environments, and collaborate without having to fear about their ideas being stolen, for example, or even IP and invention stolen. So those issues, and then the ability to have high quality work delivered automatically to each individual knowledge worker, and to be able to cross-discipline, expedite discoveries across disciplines. Those are all key issues in the workplace that we've been working on for nearly 2 decades. And our previous efforts in our lab and incubator, we actually did some of the pioneering work in primitive networks. Now, looking back, and that's where the knowledge systems work was done, and the vision of Kyield to be able to achieve in the workplace. And the good news is that in 2012, finally, the time is here that we're able to do it. And so that's why we're seeking collaborative customers and partners to be able to pilot our enterprise system. I think, from an industry perspective, there's no question that's disruptive. It's essential to be able to achieve some of the things that we obviously need to achieve in our economy, in our competitiveness, differentiation, overcoming the problems associated with commoditization and information technology, adaptive computing. These are all issues that we really need to advance and evolve in our organizations to meet the challenges that are facing us on a planetary scale, actually, and on an individual scale. So we're quite pleased to be in the position now to be able to offer it, seeking well-matched collaborative partners that on our website we provide some detail on that. We can scale up easy enough, but scaling down beyond 500 people or so gets to be problematic just because of populating enough data to be able to do some of the advanced analytics. So I would, when we talk about the future of BI or the future of analytics in the organization, I ask people to broaden their perspective, forget the marketing and the acronyms, and just focus on what's doable, what's achievable with the now present day technology moving forward in the future. I think you'll agree that when you dig deep into it, you'll find and discover that a great many things are now possible that were not achievable just in 2 years ago, even last year. So it's an exciting time, and we're quite pleased to be at the point of actually developing, building, and testing our pilot for Kyield Enterprise.